Hey guys, some of you who've been watching our videos for a while will recognize some of the things that we're about to look at, but this is one of those videos that presents itself. So today the word that kept coming to mind was pedantic. Pedantic, and it sort of overlaps a little bit with things we've talked about before, and you'll recognize some of them, but what triggered it was that this morning we had to go to the local school to drop some rather big things off. So there was this discussion first. So okay, look, let's take the car. Obviously, let's take the car and we'll go around to that back car park and we can park there and carry it in. And the answer from our Japanese family member was, oh no, we're not allowed to drive into, we're not allowed to park at the school when on a normal school day. So the non-Japanese person said, but it's not, we're not parking, we're stopping the car, we're dropping something off and we're driving away. Oh no, we can't. And this is what you'll often find with your friends and family in Japan, is if they're Japanese, is that they'll take a rule one step further than they need to. And it's sort of there's a real, you can feel the difference. If it's something that nobody else is ever going to know about, or that doesn't affect anybody else, it's within your own house and nobody else can see or hear or will ever know about it, then quite often you'll get a bit of flexibility as far as what you can do and what you can't do. But anything that's in the public eye, and particularly in the public eye like a school or any sort of local community sort of group or any family or anything where other people can see what you're doing, there's you get quite often from Japanese people this real feeling of, oh, I don't want to rock the boat, really to the point of taking rules too far, Often, now this isn't always the case, of course. When it comes to for example, the law about talking on the phone while you're driving the car, nobody cares about that. Everybody's driving around talking on their phone on the car because everybody does it. So that's okay. We actually had an example of that, an example of the pedantic once. I was driving along one time with a Japanese friend and we're having a talk, and we're on a small road, one lane each way, and it's a pretty fast road. It's pretty straight and safe. But the speed limit's 50 kilometers an hour. So I was sitting on 50 kilometers an hour. And we're talking about something, and he kept looking over his shoulder, kept looking out the back of the car. And he obviously wasn't comfortable. And I said, what's up? And he said, oh, can you go a bit faster? Because there's people behind us. And he was really worried about the people behind us. And there's a thing where that's the opposite. Instead of being pedantic about the rules, he's the pedantic about the conforming with what other people are doing. And on that particular road, people usually went 60 or 70, and we're only doing the speed limit, which was 50, and he wasn't comfortable because we might be holding people up. So probably not the best example of pedantic, but it's a little example. It's also an example of it's not always about following the rules. Sometimes it's about not following the rules. So in today's example, the rule is that the idea is that they don't want parents driving in and parking in the car park and filling the car park up, of course, but to drive in and drop off quite a heavy thing and then get back in the car and drive away. Obviously it wasn't going to cause a problem, but it caused a hassle. Oh, we don't want to do that because and the awareness of people knowing that we've done something that might not be within the rules or something. Real pedantic about that. Then just now I went to the post office, and 2 times actually. The first time went in with, some of you might know this week in the giveaway, Hans from Denmark. Hello Hans. Got some stuff. We're going to send some stuff to Hans in Denmark, and including some sake cups and a sake bottle. And when we send delicate things like that to people in other countries, usually what we do is we get these plastic containers that seal up really well, and they're sort of airtight plastic container. So if you wrap the delicate things in bubble wrap and then put them in the plastic container in bubble wrap and then seal the container up and then wrap it up in tape, it seems to work really well. It seems to work really well, and that these things seem to get sent around the world without breaking. So it seems to be a pretty good system, and we've always done that. And usually we'll put that plastic container inside a big envelope, and sometimes we don't. Occasionally we don't. So anyway, today we didn't. So we took Hans's package. So it's this plastic container wrapped in gaff tape. So really seriously well done, you know. And took it, and the piece of paper for the EMS, which is the transportation system paper. Took that to the post office and gave it to them. And the young girl serving was sort of just processing it, and there was an older lady standing beside her, and she started to, and she picked it up and she looked at it, and whenever people start doing that here, it's never a good thing. The people that work in the post office are sort of like the keepers of the post office magic, and the gatekeepers, and the feeling that you often get in the post office, and we've talked about the post office before, the feeling that you often get in the post office and in most bureaucracies, the post office, the banks, City Hall, most of these places, the feeling that you often get is that all they're about is trying to stop you doing it, is trying to stop you doing what you're trying to do. And what it is that it's always safer, in Japanese society, it's always safer for a person in that sort of circumstance to say no. For them, for the way they feel about it, is if they allow something to go through and then there's a problem, it's like the end of the world. Whereas if they say to the customer, no, sorry, we can't do that, then they don't worry so much about, because it's a rule, and most Japanese people, if a Japanese person's told by the post office, no, you can't use that way of packaging, the Japanese person will go, oh, okay. Most of them will go, okay, and go home and repackage it. And so this lady's gone, and then taking it off to another person sitting behind a desk, obviously her senior. And you see this a lot. We told you a story once about a bank where they did exactly this. And they've taken it over to the senior person, and the senior person's looked at it and gone, Now, of course, it's gone through my mind that I've sent exactly the same package before. Same material, same size, same contents, same everything, without a problem. But what happens is once one person starts going, what shall we do? Doshio. Once that starts, nobody steps up and says, oh, it's okay. Nobody does that. So once it starts, you know it's not going to be good. So I went and sat down because I knew it was going to go down from there. So yeah, showed it to the other person. Oh dear, that person's pulled out some piece of paper, given it to that staff member, who's then got on the phone and called someone on the phone, who knows who, called someone on the phone and described it. You know, there's this plastic box and it's wrapped up in tape, and you know, doshio, and then she's come back and said, no, because you're sending it overseas, the foreign country, Denmark, right? Hello, Hans. The foreign country might want to open it, and if they open it, everything will be out of the box then, and they won't be able to put it back in, right? So when she first started to do this, when this first started, the first instinct was to say, hey, I've done this before, but it's a waste of time. Once this process starts, nothing you can say, nobody is going to step up, because this is the problem. Well, not the problem. This is the way it is. This is the way it works in Japan. Once there's a doubt about something, nobody is going to step up. In a lot of countries, in English-speaking countries, we'll use terms like, you know, think for yourself, make a decision. You know, I took it on myself to make a decision. And in a lot of organisations and companies, people making a decision or using common sense. There's a thing that crossed my mind today that we say in English all the time. Common sense, you know, and nobody's going to do that because no one wants to stick their neck out. And there's also the complicated thing where everybody is below or above someone else, which means none of the lower level people are game to say, oh, it'll be okay. And so the only people that are likely to are the further up the chain, and they're all worried about what happens if they get it wrong. The person above them has a problem with it. So So their argument was, or the thing that I was saying was that if it gets to Denmark and the Danish customs open the box, then they're not going to be able to put everything back in the box. And they're not going to, you know, what are they going to do with the things when after they've taken them out? Now, we know, because we've had stuff opened that's been sent to us in Japan, and a lot of you guys would have seen this before. If customs open your package, when they finish, they put everything back and they seal it all up and they send it to you with a sticker on it that says opened by customs, so the person who receives it knows. So obviously this box that seals really easily, they'd put everything back in the box, they'd seal it up, they'd wrap it in tape and they'd send it on, wouldn't they? But no, you have to put it in an envelope, right? Now obviously it's still going to be the same situation, isn't it? They've still got to cut the envelope open, then they've still got to open the box, then they've still got to put everything back in the box and put everything back in the envelope, haven't they? So we're back, it's no different, is it? So common sense says that it's just silly. The whole idea is silly. But the point of this video is two things. As always with these videos, it's a heads up video. So if you come to Japan and you experience this yourself, it won't catch you off guard so much that you'll know. But the most important point to remember is there is nothing you can say or do. Once this pedantic thing, and there'd be no rule anywhere that in the Japanese postal system that says you can't send something in a plastic box tied up in gaff tape, right? There's no rule anywhere that says that. But once this pedantic thing starts, nothing you can say or do is going to change it, because nobody is going to say, oh yeah, okay, you know, okay, we'll send it then. Nobody's going to do that. It never happens, because once they've started to go down this path, nobody is going to say, oh, it'll be okay. None of these postal people are going to say, no, it's going to be okay. And that's just the way it is, and it's always the way it is. So I was like, okay, no problem. So there was actually three things. There was one thing for hands, and then there was another package for someone else in the US, and there was a book going to someone else in the US. So, well, there's no point in sending half this stuff, so I piled it all up again and said, okay, thanks, I'll be back. Went out the door, because inside you're going, oh, you know, dickheads. You know, pedantic dickheads. The squad kept going, oh, you know. And because, you know, you've got things to do, places to go, things to do, and this thing that should take 5 minutes is just turning into a big thing, like they always do here. The faffing, some of you would have seen the faffing video, you know. And so, okay, so I went home, got a big envelope, put the box in the big envelope, and then wrapped it up in tape, because, you know, just an envelope on its own is likely to tear. So I put tape around that, and then went back to the post office, you know, so 30 minutes later, back in the post office again. And hello, you know, and you got to smile, guys. You know, in a lot of countries, in a situation like that, you could go, that is bloody ridiculous. What are you talking about, you know? And it'd be sort of, nobody be surprised. But here, it's just not on. Everyone here is so patient. You know, as we've talked about on previous videos, it's really rare to hear anyone get angry here and you know, go on about anything. And if you do, it just, you know, and this is our local post office we have to go to all the time. And it is hard. I mean, there's been times where I've been in there going, oh, you know, damn, including today. So I went back and put all the stuff on the counter again, and then presented that one that was the first one, Hans's one. Hey, Hans. It was Hans's one, and said to them, okay, you know, here it is in an envelope, you know. And then she's gone, and then she's gone over to the drawer and got out a piece of paper and brought it over. And some of you would have seen a video we talked about once before about the dangerous goods thing. And of course, these days with terrorism and things, and just for aircraft safety, there's a big thing with sending dangerous goods, as there always has been with international freight. You know, they're always concerned about dangerous goods going on aeroplanes. And that's fair, it's always been the case. So on the counter where you put everything down, there's a big thing that says, you know, shows pictures of all the dangerous goods and lists all the dangerous goods. You guys know, post offices all around the world have that up on the wall as well. And then on the form that we fill out, we have to list everything that's in there. and we have to sign a thing that says there's no dangerous goods in here. Now, we've talked about this before and about how pedantic they are about your list of stuff. So you're signing a thing to say there's no dangerous goods, and you're listing everything that's in the package, which is fair enough again, isn't it? But then they'll get you to explain what's in the package because you've written it in English, right? So that's no good to them. You've got to write it in English because it's going to Europe. You can't write it in Japanese. That's not going to help anyone in Europe, is it? Or the US. So it's all written in English. So what's this? Yeah, it's a fan. And what's this? That's sake cup. And what's this? Sake bottle. What's this? That's stickers and candy, and telling them everything that's in there. And we talked about on a previous video. Once we had a wooden toy, and they made us write a wooden toy without batteries. Right. Please write here without batteries. And well, we've already written down here that it contains no dangerous goods, and batteries are dangerous goods, so we've already covered that. Oh no, please write wooden toy with no batteries. Okay, wooden toy with no batteries. Okay, we'll do that. So you guys know about all that already. So today we've got all that. We had to list out what's in the package for Hans. We've had to sign the thing to say there's no dangerous goods, and there's the dangerous goods thing written on the counter. And then she pulls a piece of paper out of the drawer and says, from the 1st of September, you have to fill out one of these forms when you send something overseas. And it's exactly the same thing. It says, I understand what dangerous goods are, and you've got to tick the box, and I packed this box and I know what's in it, and you have to tick the box. And there are no dangerous goods in this box, and you have to tick the box, and go down and fill out this form and then date it and sign it at the bottom, which is exactly what the form that's stuck to the package says, which they get a copy of when they pull off the thing. They get a copy of that. So it's basically just repeating what they've already said to you, what you've already read on the counter, and what you've already written on the form. So again, pedantic, and sometimes it's the system. So in that case, obviously, with the dangerous goods thing, it's the system that's pedantic. So it's not it's not the staff. It's the system that's pedantic when it came to that. However, when it came to the package thing, how it was packaged in the plastic container with the tape, obviously that's not the system. That's the staff member getting nervous, and the last thing you want to hear from a bureaucrat here, from a post office worker or a bank worker or any sort of bureaucrat, city hall person or something, the last thing you want to hear from one of them is, I've never seen that before, because that's the death blow. If there's anything that they haven't seen before, or they can't remember seeing before or whatever, they just don't know what to do. And they really stress out about it. They really stress out about it, because again, this making a decision or thinking for yourself or common sense, or it's logical, isn't it, or reasonable, all those things that we often say in English-speaking countries, they don't think like that here. They just don't think like that here. Everybody's just so pedantic about and so paranoid about some problem happening that they're involved in. And they will always be supported. If they knock back a customer and say, no, you can't send that, and the customer does complain, which is not really likely, but if the customer does, then that guy's fixing typhoon damage, guys. But if the customer does complain, then the boss will support them anyway. The boss will listen to the story and say, yes, we can't send that box because if we do, and customs won't be able to deal with it if they have to open the box, or whatever it is that the staff member's already said to you, their boss will repeat it, because the boss has got to show that he's or she is as pedantic as the staff member is, because they wouldn't use a word that means pedantic. They'd use a word that means thorough. They're being thorough. They're being careful. And lots of you guys will remember lots of videos we've made with examples of this. The video about faffing, the video about buying a house. The word pedantic. I was actually surprised. I thought with our 3,000 videos that there'd be a video somewhere where we talked about pedantic before, and search pedantic on our video list, and there wasn't one with it in the title. But there certainly is a lot of videos. There are a lot of videos that we've made where the topics come up. So two things. One thing is, for the people who are interested in Japan, this is one of the aspects of living in Japan. For those of you who are coming here, we just have to accept it. You know, to be honest, on the second trip today, I got a little bit frustrated when they pulled that form out, and I said, it already says that on that form, you know. And I got a little bit frustrated by Japanese standards. By Western standards, I was pretty cool, but by Japanese standards, I was getting a bit frustrated, you know, and not quite patient enough. But it really tests your patience, and that's what triggered the video, because the point is, you just have to accept it. You know, in some countries you can make a difference. If you go, I want to see the manager comes and you say, look, this is ridiculous. In a lot of countries, the manager will say, oh, okay, then it'll be okay. But the chances of that happening here, I can't remember seeing that here, ever. Because the boss wants to send a message to the staff that it's good to be pedantic. And so it's really unlikely that the boss, he or she, is going to reverse the decision. He's just going to go, very, very sorry, and bow deeply to you and say, oh, I'm very, very sorry. Just the way it is. Shogunai, as they say. Shogunai, can't be helped. Anyway, there it was. Pedantic in Japan. More videos coming soon.